The sun was already high in the sky when Ao strolled into his uncle's house. He wasn't in a hurry. He never was. Life had taught him patience, and today, that patience was about to be tested. "Uncle, good afternoon," he greeted, bowing slightly, as was custom. His uncle, Baba Cola, looked up from the wooden bench where he was peeling oranges. "Ah, Ao, you're here. Sit down. I sent for you." Ao obeyed, sitting on the small stool across from him. "Do you know why I called you?" Baba Cola asked, his eyes sharp. Ao shook his head. Baba Cola sighed and leaned back. "It's about your job. I heard what happened." Ao clenched his fists. He knew what was coming. "Uncle, I will not let anyone trample on my dignity. I respect my respect." Ao worked at a construction firm. He was known for his diligence and honesty. But last week, something happened that changed everything. His boss, Engineer Martins, had insulted him in front of everyone. "Are you stupid?" the man had shouted when Ao questioned a wrong calculation on the blueprint. Ao froze. The workers around him went silent. Some smirked, enjoying the drama. Others looked away, pretending not to hear. Ao had many flaws, but one thing he never tolerated was disrespect. He took a deep breath and said, "Sir, I have always respected you. Please respect me too." Engineer Martin scoffed. "Respect you? Who are you? If you don't like it, leave." Ao looked him in the eye and removed his safety helmet. "Then I leave." And just like that, he walked away. Back in his uncle's house, Baba Cola laughed dryly. "So you left your job because of one insult?" Ao nodded. "Uncle, if I don't respect myself, who will? If I allow one insult today, tomorrow it will be worse." Baba Cola shook his head. "You young people of today, do you know how many insults I swallowed before I became successful? Do you know how many times my boss called me useless? If I had walked away, what would I be today?" Ao exhaled. "Uncle, I understand patience, but I also understand value. There is a difference between enduring and losing self-respect. If I stay, he will think he owns me. But by leaving, he will realize my worth." Baba Cola remained silent for a while, then nodded slowly. "You have a point. But do you have another job?" Ao smiled. "No, but I have my dignity." Baba Cola chuckled. "Dignity doesn't pay rent." Ao grinned. "Respect does. Watch." The next day, Ao got a call. "Hello, is this Ao?" The voice was familiar. "Yes, sir," Ao answered cautiously. "This is Engineer Martins." Ao sat up. "I need you back," the man admitted. "You're one of the best workers we have," and he cleared his throat. I was out of line." Ao paused, letting the words sink in. This was the same man who had humiliated him. "I respect my respect, sir," Ao said carefully. "I can only come back if I am treated with dignity." There was silence. Then Engineer Martin sighed. "Understood. Come to my office tomorrow. Let's talk." When Ao walked into the office the next day, something had changed. The workers who had laughed at him now looked at him with respect. Engineer Martins greeted him with a nod instead of arrogance. And most importantly, Ao had proven that when you respect yourself, others will follow. As he signed his new contract, this time with better pay, he smiled. "I respect my respect," he whispered. "And now, so does everyone else." Moral of the story: respect is not demanded. It is earned. If you let people disrespect you once, they will continue. But if you stand firm, even those who look down on you today will look up to you tomorrow. I respect my respect. Ao sat on the wooden bench outside his house when his phone buzzed. It was Badibo. "Oh, my guy." Badibo's voice boomed through the phone. "Saturday is my birthday, and say no fit complete without you. You and the boys must come o." Ao smiled. Badibo was rich, proud, and sometimes too full of himself, but they had been friends for years. "We go day there," Ao assured him. For days, Ao and some other friends worked tirelessly to make the party a success. They chose the perfect location, handled the decorations, and ensured everything was set. But on the day of the event, something unexpected happened. The party was in full swing. Laughter, music, and the aroma of delicious food filled the air. Ao sat comfortably, enjoying his meal when Badibo suddenly walked up to him, grinning widely. "My guy, a bag. I need your seat and your food," Badibo said casually. Ao frowned. For what? Badibo pointed at a man standing at the entrance. That's Chief Aluko. He first time me say he no fit come. Now wait on show. I want give him the best treatment. Ao dropped his spoon. So, because Chief Aluko changed his mind last minute, you want me to stand up, give up my food, my drink, and my seat? Badibo chuckled and clapped him on the back. Ao, no vex. Just do this for me. Ao took a deep breath, calmly stood up, and adjusted his shirt. Without a word, he turned and walked out of the party. The entire hall fell silent. Ao, wait nah. The other friends jumped up and ran after him. Ao, a beg. No vex, one pleaded. Come back inside. No be like that, EB, another added. Ao stopped, turned to face them, and said just 5 words. You all know me. I respect my respect. Then he walked away. The next day, Ao was at home when he heard a knock on the door. He opened it and found Badibo standing there with 4 of their friends. They all fell on their knees. Ao, a beg, forgive me, Badibo said. His face was serious, no longer filled with pride. Ao folded his arms. What is all this? One of the friends spoke up. Ao, make I confess. Yesterday was a bet. A bet. Ao raised a brow. Yes, Badibo admitted, shamefaced. They told me you will never tolerate nonsense, but I told them that because of the way you hold me dear, I can humiliate you, and you will do nothing. We placed a bet of 5 million naira. Ao's expression remained calm. Immediately you stood up and left without raising your voice or causing a scene. Badibo continued. I lost. I had to pay them 5 million naira each. Ao sighed and shook his head. You mean my respect was just a joke to you? Badibo bowed his head. I messed up, and I want to make it up to you. He pulled out a check and handed it to Ao. This is 10 million naira, just to show you how sorry I am. Ao looked at the check, then at Badibo. He smiled slightly, then said just one sentence. I respect my respect. The moment he said it, the others chorused at the top of their voices. I respect my respect. And with that, a lesson was learned. Self-respect is priceless. Ao had come a long way from a man who walked away from his job for dignity. Badibo's money had been the seed, but it was Ao's wisdom, discipline, and strategic mind that turned that seed into a thriving business. Now, he was the owner of a booming block-making factory and a well-known supplier of building materials. He had built himself into a man of wealth and influence. And with success came love, or so he thought. He met Omolara, a stunning young lady with a beauty that could turn heads in any gathering. She was elegant, charming, and had a taste for the finer things in life. From the moment they met, Ao was captivated. He believed she was the perfect woman to build a future with. But on a fateful shopping day, reality began to reveal itself. Ao and Omolara walked into the biggest mall in the city to shop for their upcoming wedding. Ao was excited. He wanted to be involved in every decision, every detail of their big day. But Omolara had other ideas. As they moved from one section to another, Ao picked a beautiful dinner dress. This will look perfect on you, he said, handing it to her. She barely glanced at it before shaking her head. Oh no, Ao, that dress is not my color. He sighed but kept his cool. He picked a stylish gold chain. This will complement your dress beautifully, he said. Omolara scoffed. Ao, are you blind? That chain is too cheap. Ao exhaled slowly and moved on. He pointed at a pair of elegant heels. These will go well with your outfit. She burst into laughter. Ao, that shoe is no longer in vogue. What kind of taste do you have? Ao remained silent. They got to the bag section, and he picked a classy designer handbag. She rolled her eyes. That bag is for low-class girls. I can't be caught dead carrying that. Every single thing Ao suggested was rejected with flimsy excuses. Even when it came to the wedding gown, Omolara did not let him have a say. Ao simply followed, watched, and kept quiet. Finally, they arrived at the cashier's desk. The cashier scanned each item, and the total bill appeared on the screen. 25 million Nigerian nairas naira. Ao chuckled. Then he turned, locked eyes with Omolara, and said in a firm but calm voice, You know I respect my respect. Omolara blinked in confusion. What do you mean? Ao took a step back and folded his arms. I'm sorry, but I won't be able to pay for any of these items because my money, is signed with respect. A hush fell over the cashier's desk. The sales attendants froze. Other customers turned to watch the unfolding drama. Without another word, Ao turned around and walked confidently out of the mall. No one dared to stop him. Omolara stood there, speechless, humiliated, and in utter disbelief. The tension in the room was thick. Both families, Ao's and Omolara's, were seated in the grand living room of Omolara's father's mansion. The elders, uncles, aunts, and even cousins were all present. Omolara, usually full of pride and confidence, sat in the middle, her head lowered in shame. She had spent the entire night in distress, unable to believe that Ao had walked away from her so effortlessly. She had never seen a man stand up to her like that, and the weight of it had humbled her. Now, surrounded by family, she was prepared to apologize. Omolara's father, Chief Adewale, cleared his throat and spoke first. Ao, my son, we have gathered here today because we recognize that you were disrespected. It is clear that you are not just a man of wealth, but a man of principle, and that is more valuable than money. Ao nodded silently, his expression unreadable. Omolara's mother stepped forward, her voice thick with emotion. My dear Ao, we know our daughter can be difficult, but she loves you. She has realized her mistake, and we all ask that you forgive her. Omolara slowly stood up and faced Ao. Ao, I was wrong. I let my pride and materialism cloud my respect for you. You've shown me that money is nothing without dignity. Please forgive me. The room fell silent, all eyes on Ao. He sat there, calm as ever, his fingers interlocked. Then, after a long pause, he stood up. Respect is a two-way street, he said, his voice steady but warm. A relationship without mutual respect will collapse like a house built on sand. I have never forced respect from anyone, and I will never beg for it, but I will always respect my respect. The family members nodded, murmuring in agreement. Omolara's father smiled. Wise words, my son. So what do you say? Can we move forward? Ao's lips curled into a slight smile. Yes, we can. Omolara gasped in relief. The entire room erupted into cheers. Laughter filled the air as everyone rejoiced, hugging one another. Then, Ao raised his hand, and the room fell silent again. Tomorrow, he announced, we go shopping again. A fresh wave of excitement swept through the room. Everyone clapped and cheered, knowing that this time, things would be different. Omolara, filled with gratitude and newfound wisdom, smiled brightly. And together, in one voice, the entire family shouted, I respect my respect. The next day, Ao and Omolara arrived at the same luxurious shopping mall where the drama had unfolded just a day earlier. But today was different. Today, there was understanding. As they walked into the grand building, Ao turned to Omolara with a calm but firm expression. Omolara, he said, if you don't want us to fight, here's how we'll do it. You pick whatever you want, show it to me for approval or disapproval, and then I'll pay. Omolara looked at him for a moment, then smiled with humility and nodded. Yes, my love, she said softly. The sales attendants, who had witnessed the incident the previous day, watched in surprise as Omolara respectfully brought each item to Ao before proceeding to check out. The arrogance and dismissive attitude from yesterday were gone. With each item she selected, Ao took a moment to inspect it. If he approved, he gave her a warm nod. If he disapproved, she gracefully put it back without argument. It was a completely different shopping experience. There was laughter, conversation, and an air of mutual respect. 3 solid hours passed, and their shopping carts were overflowing with luxurious clothes, shoes, jewelry, and accessories. Everything Omolara chose had gone through the new system of respectful approval. When they finally arrived at the cashier's desk, the attendants scanned every item, and the final total appeared on screen. 30 million Nigerian Nairas Naira. Omolara's eyes widened slightly, but Ao chuckled, completely unbothered. Without hesitation, he pulled out his card, inserted it into the POS machine, and entered his PIN. Payment successful. The moment the machine beeped, Omolara let out a deep breath of gratitude. She turned to Ao and held his hand. "Thank you, my love," she said sincerely. "Please subscribe and press the notification button to be notified whenever I drop another video." Ao smiled. "Now, this is how respect works. Reciprocity, understanding, partnership." The cashier in attendance, who had been observing, couldn't hold back their joy. They burst into applause. As they walked out of the mall, the couple radiated happiness, stronger than ever before. And right there, in the middle of the grand shopping mall, a voice from the crowd shouted, "I respect my respect." Instantly, others joined in, and before they knew it, the entire mall was echoing, "I respect my respect." Ao and Omolara laughed as they walked out hand in hand, proving to the world that in love, business, and life, respect must be mutual. The end.